Hi, I'm Cheryl, and I have an Easter card, and this one is it's a Z fold. So you see, dun 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 dun. Dun. And even though I've made this an Easter card, this could be used for so many different occasions. I'm using the pansies from Heartfelt Creations on this one, and some cardstocks from Stampin Up, and designer papers from Stampin Up. So this is what we're going to need uh, for the base. Now you might notice this is a little bit different color. I thought I'd do it in a different colorway, so you can take your choice. The original, my sample one, is done with Granny Apple Green, and the coordinating green designer paper has a nice botanical print on it. But for this one, we're going to use Highland Heather, and then we also have a coordinating print from the same pack of cardstock that I'll be using on this, just to switch it up a little bit, give you a little color option. And so our piece of Highland Heather is 11 inches by 5 inches. So this is going to make, it's going to be a kind of an odd size card. It's going to be 5 by 5.5. Now you could make your own envelope if you want, but it will fit into a standard 5 by 7 envelope too. So then we're going to score at 5.5 inches, and then we're going to turn it around the other way, and on this side we're going to score at 2 3/4 inches, which is half of 5.5 inches. Then we need some Whisper White cardstock, and this is just the plain Whisper White because we're going to be layering it. We'll have our designer paper, our Whisper White, and then our card base. And the Whisper White is 2.5 by 4 3/4. The designer paper is 2 1/4 by 4.5. And we need 2 pieces of each of those for the card. And then we have another piece here that's 5 1/4 by 4 3/4, and a designer paper that's 5 by 4.5. So that's going to go right here, just like so. Then I have some Whisper White thick cardstock. That's going to be for all our fancy schmancy stuff here. Our pansy frame, there's a triangle, or not a triangle, a diamond shape underneath that, and then our lacy cut here, and then also the triangle that's on the inside. So I'm using heavyweight Whisper White for all of those, and I've already pre-cut my lacy piece here. Got all the little pieces poked out. Let's see, let me show you where I found all of those bits. Okay, so the big one, the big lacy piece, that's from the Diamonds and Lace from Heartfelt Creations. And then we're using the second to the largest diamond from Diamond Basics. And then our Petite Pansy frame is this beautiful decorative stamp and die here. And then it does have the stamp and the die to go with those. I used sentiments from Easter Message. I believe this has been discontinued. This was came out last year for Easter. I used Happy Easter, and he is not here. He has risen from this stamp set, but you could use from His Grace we're going to be using God So Loved the World that He Gave His Only Begotten Son. That's going to go in on the front of the card. But there's also a He Is Risen here. And from You're Inspiring, there's a Happy Easter. You could use those. You could use other stamps. Whatever stamps you have that you want to use in place of those, that would be fine, as long as they fit on the diamond shape that goes on the inside. It's your card. Do what you want. I can't see it from my house. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Use what you have. That's my New Year's resolution. Use what I have and get rid of what I don't use. So I've been working on that this year. I use the Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I'm going to be using my Spectrum Noir markers to color in the pansies and the little frame that goes around them. I'll be using my stamping platform for this big stamp. That's the Pansy doohickey there, because I like to use the positioning platform for things like that, because it's a big stamp and you want to make sure you get a good impression with it. So I'm using the platform for that. And then a lot of times I will use that for the sentiments also, but today I have them all mounted on blocks. Now, when I use a block to stamp a sentiment with, and then it needs to be in a certain spot, what I do when I place the stamp on my block, I line up the print with the edge of the stamp, because once I turn this over, I can't see that print anymore. So by doing this, I can use my edge of my stamp, or my stamp block, to line it up for placement. So that's a helpful hint for using rubber stamps, the rubber cling type stamps. So let's see. What else? Oh, I have my assortment of glues. I have my Tombow here. I have my Art Glitter Dries clear glue. I'll be using those. I'll need a pencil here. I have that. And I think that might be all I need. Oh, I have scissors out too. And they've clung to my magnet that's been stored on the bottom of my Stamparatus here. So we're going to need scissors too. So let's do the part with the scissors first. Now you might notice I don't know why I have my little charging cord plugged into my camera, but that's just in the way. So you might notice this is a bit larger than we're going to need it for the card. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my scissors, and don't try to use your Stampin Trimmer. Don't try to use a trimmer for this. Well, maybe one of those guillotine ones would work. I don't know. I don't have one. But this is just these little edges here are just too delicate to do that. So I've cut it right down the center. And now I'm going to take this, I'm going to overlap this. Just like so. So I'm just overlapping one of these this netting part here. And let me just check that with my card to make sure that's enough. I believe it is. I think that's what I did. So yes, now it just goes side to side here on this card. So I'm going to glue those together. And I'm going to use, let me move this stuff out of here. I'm going to just use some of my Art Glitter Dries clear glue on that. And put just a little bit there and down. Right down here. Got a little dried glue on there. There, that's better. It's coming out much nicer now. And always recap your glue. And then I'll just glue these pieces together. Just like this. And it's not very pretty there in the middle. But that's okay because our diamond shape and the pansies are going to cover this up. So now it's just the right size for on our card. So we'll put that aside. And I'll bring in this larger piece. This is the thick Whisper White. And I already have one of my triangles traced out here. I'm going to take another triangle. I'm going to leave myself some room here. And I'll take my pencil and just around the outside here, I'm going to lightly trace all around this diamond shape. Now you might wonder why I'm doing that. Oop, I got a little off there. Okay. Because now I'm going to stamp my sentiments on here. And this way, when I cut these out, when I die cut these, I have some room to adjust. If I don't get it exactly in the middle or exactly lined up right, I can move my die around a little bit and it's not a wasted piece. If you cut it out first and then stamp it, then you're just stuck with that. So let me get this inked up. This is the one that will go on the front. So that's going to go this way, and I want that like right in the center of my diamond. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. That looks pretty good to me. And then this one will go on the inside, and we want my diamond to go this way on the inside. We'll stamp that up, or ink that up. And there we go. Ah, look at that. That looks nice. And our Happy Easter. There. And then we have a little bit there. You can sign it down the bottom. Okay, so now these are ready to be die cut. And doesn't look like I'm going to have to do much wiggling in here to get them lined up properly. So maybe this one just a little bit. But I'll put those aside for the moment. And I'm bringing in my other piece of the Heavyweight Whisper White. And this is what I'm going to use to stamp my Pansy diamond on there. This is such a pretty stamp. It looks, well, you'll see, it looks kind of vintage. I'm using the Tuxedo Black. That's an ink that works well with the alcohol markers. Get that inked up real well. And I have just this thin piece of craft foam there that helps me to make good contact. Makes it a little squishy too. It helps to get a better impression. You can hold it in place for a few seconds. And I'll just walk around with my fingers here a little bit, make sure everything's all touching. And there we go. And let's see, how's that look? That looks pretty good. I don't think I have to redo this one. And I'm going to take that off. I'm going to turn this around so I can close this up and not get ink on my foam. This comes with another piece of black foam like this. And here's a little tip with this. See this little, I don't know if you can see that in the video, but right here it's got a little indented logo, Stampin' Up. And when you use it, make sure you put that face down so that when you stamp, you don't accidentally stamp over top of this and you're not going to get as good an impression. But it comes with a piece of foam like this. So I'm going to put that back there with that so that I have it and I'm not losing it. Alright. Well, let me get my markers in here. Now, if you don't have Spectrum Noir markers or Copic markers, you can use any kind of markers you like. You can even use the Stampin' Up inks with the blender pen and use that to color in. Any of those, that would be fine. You use pencils. If you like pencils better than markers, that's great too. But these are the colors that I've used. I'm going to be using LV3, CT4, and CT1 for my flowers. So I'm just going to color in like one big flower and one little bud type one to show you how this is done. And I think I need to move my camera in closer, so let me do that. Okay, so I'm gonna try to color these in and keep my hands out of the way. Alright, let me get my marker uncapped here. I'm going to start out with the LV3, and that's a purpley color. And I'm just going to do the little centers of the flowers, and you can tell pretty easily where they are. I'm not doing any kind of blending here yet. And you see I'm going to flick a little bit. Okay, so that's finished. Then I'm going to take my CT4, and that's the darker yellow color. This is the two-color blend, and I'm going to flick all around the edges of the petals. And the center, I want the center nice and bright yellow. And you can go in a little bit more where it's got little lines that show you where the shadows would be. So you flick in just a little more on those. And I'm going to put a little bit more in the center here where there's just a little bit of lines there. Let me bring it up a little closer. Okay, so now I have my dark color down. Most of the time that's how I like to do it. I like to start with my darkest color and then go to like my medium color and then my lightest color. If it's a bigger area than this, these are rather small. So if it's a bigger area, I will put down my lightest color over the entire surface where I'm coloring, and then I will go to my darkest, then my medium, and then back to my light one. And there's our regular flower. Now I'll do the bud. Open the wrong end. I'll do my bud, and I'm going to do this one with my dark first, and then I'll go back with my lighter. Yellow. There we go. So that's pretty much it for doing the flowers. So I'm not getting real crazy with a whole lot of color blends. And let's see. We can do the leaves. Oh, that goes with the in the border. I was wondering what that one was for. So CG1 and 3 are what I'm using for the leaves. Here, I'll show you the other way of doing it. I'll start out with my light, and I'll just cover the whole leaf with my light color. So there's no right or wrong on how to do this. It's whatever works the best for you. And now, on my shadows, I'm going to go in with my darker color. So wherever there's little dotted lines there, and I'm just going in and going over that with my darker color. And now I'll come back with my light and go over, I'm just going to go over the whole thing just to blend it in a little bit better. Okay? And I'll also color in my little tendrils and my leaves around my buds and so on and so on. And then we have our frame here. So for that I'm using GB4, GB8, and GB2. And I forget exactly what colors each of these are, so off on the side here I'm going to scribble just a little bit. Just to check. And there's, okay. I got it. So, another tip for using alcohol markers, just do a small section at a time. Don't try to go through like all of your flowers and do like the dark yellow and then come back with the light yellow and expect it to blend, because it's not going to blend very well. The same with the frame. I just do a little section at a time, maybe one of the sides at a time, so that you can still, so your ink is still wet and you can move it around. So I'll start with the GB2, which is kind of a funny orange color. And I just cover all of that. Then I will go to my darkest one, which is the GB8. And right in these creases here, and I'm going to use like a flicking motion again here. I'm going to bring it out longer on the sides and along these edges here. Just like this. And you see it's already starting to take on a little dimension. And then I'll go to my GB4. And I'm going to go over all of that and past where I ended it. So you see it just goes past that. And I'm going to go a little bit heavier, a little bit more where they meet up. And that blends it in very nicely. And now that I've done that, I'll go back to my first color, the GB2, which is the lightest. And I'm just going to go over that and blend that in. Just like so. Okay, so now I have to finish coloring this in. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. I have to cut my diamonds out. I'll die cut this piece out also, and we'll be back, and we can put the card together then. So it's break time. I like to watch Rachel Ray. She says, "Grab a snack and be right back." So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, we're ready to put this together now. I'm going to start with my Pansy diamond shaped here, and I'm going to attach this sentiment for the front, or Bible verse, and I'm just going to go right along here. I'm using my designer's Dries clear glue for this. If you wanted to, you could use some foam here and pop it up. I'm trying to keep it kind of flat. It's going to naturally have a little bit of dimension to it because of all the layers we're putting on. And there's that piece. That's ready to go. And I'll bring in my lacy piece. And we're going to put that right here. You see that? It covers up where we cut it. Isn't that nice? Oh, I see I missed a little piece here. Didn't get that out. Come on, little piece, get out of there. There we go. Let me do a quick scan and make sure I didn't miss any other ones, and it looks like I got the rest. So we're going to glue that onto here. In order to do that, I know that if I put glue on just this diamond part, that it's not going to show anywhere, ooze out. And again, I'm using the designer's Dries clear glue for this. And I'll just put that here and make sure I have it centered. And that looks pretty good right there. You don't have a whole lot of time to move things around when you're using the designer's Dries clear. Okay, so we have that ready for the front. Now I'm going to switch over to my Tombow glue, because we'll be gluing all of these pieces together. If you only have one type of glue, well, then that's not a terrible thing. But there are, I have several different types of glue I use, and for different applications. Now I'm going to put this on and center that. Oh, I used the designer's Dries clear glue. I didn't want to do that. You see how quick that grabs? Oh dear. That's what I get for just talking. There we go. I'm going to put that over there and get my Tombow for the rest of these. Because that was enough excitement for me. Tombow gives us a little time to get things lined up. Now when you're doing this part here, if you're using a different designer paper and it has a definite up and down pattern to it, then make sure you remember that, and when we're putting it on the card base, you have it so your pattern goes up and down in the right way on all three of these sections. On the one I did with the green pattern paper, it's got a definite up and down pattern, so that you have to remember to get that on right. Oh, by the way, these came from the Botanical Butterfly Designer Series paper. Okay, so we have those all down. And I can attach them to my card base. Just put some glue on there. And center that. And just a little bit on each of our matte pieces showing around. And then we can also attach this on the inside here. And I'll center that. Alright, that looks good. You can see it can still move. That's the beauty of using Tombow for something like this. There are other times you want a glue to grab quick, and that's when I like to use the Designer Dries Clear. And one more of these. That will go on this section here. That will be at the front of the card. Got that all lined up nice. Oh, this is coming out pretty, huh? I don't know which one I like better. Now, see, I didn't get this quite lined up, but I think, no, my Tombow is already, you see? But I really don't notice it when I open it all the way up. Well, now I do because I know it's wrong. Now, I'm going to put my Tombow aside, and I'm going to glue this onto the front here. And I'm going to line this diamond shape up. The 2 points will line up with the edge of this front section here. So when we put the glue on this piece, and we're only putting it on this piece, we want to be only on this side. We don't want any glue on this side of it. From that center point over, no glue, or you'll end up gluing your whole card together. Okay, so we're flipping it over so the glue goes on this side right here. I'll put a little glue up here, some glue all through there, put some glue there, some there, wherever I can find a little spot to put some glue. And there's not too many on this lacy part. I'll put some glue there, and I can put some dots in here. Okay, so we're ready to put that on the front. I'm lining that up top and bottom. And there we go. Now our card is finished. And there's the inside. So if you've liked this video, be sure to hit that like button down below. If you have any questions or comments, then be sure to leave them down there too. I'll have all the tools and materials that I used today down below in the description also. And if there are any Stampin' Up products that you'd like to purchase, well, that would be wonderful if you use me as your demonstrator. And you can do that either through my Facebook page or my blog. I'll check my blog out every now and then. I put things there that don't show up anyplace else. And that's it. We've got a beautiful card. Had a lot of fun making it. So y'all take care. Stay safe. And happy stamping.